So I was really unsure about what I was going to talk about today, but I think I'm just going to jump into the video because the longer I wait, well, it's already Thursday, and then, I'm not working on other things that I probably should be working on. So, a while ago, I made a video about my summer capstone project for medical humanities, and I am close to finishing that up and wrapping it up and really being graduated. So I thought I'd sort of do an update video where I talk about where that project is. And it has changed and developed from like reading in the literature and talking with my mentor a lot. So the topic of the paper, if you didn't watch the video before, well, you should go watch it, but just in case you're really lazy and are not going to go watch it, was the impact of the investigator on the investigated. Looking at medical research when it's performed on cultures that are different from the perspective of the person that is researching. And so when I went to Swaziland, when I came back, I wrote a paper for that program on the tuberculosis epidemic. And Swaziland has the highest prevalence of tuberculosis in the world. They also have the highest prevalence of HIV/AIDS in the world. And what I found while I was reading through the literature for that paper was that the dual epidemic really complicates things. And so I started to get a little bit more interested in AIDS treatment in other parts of the world and what research has been done there and how that gets presented, and how like physicians, anthropologists, and public health specialists alike kind of approach that problem. So that's kind of where my capstone paper ended up being. So now I'm actually focusing on that more. What have I found? Anyway, so the most important thing, I think, the thing that I've learned in the literature that's really made me think that I didn't expect, I guess I didn't understand before, was the concept of a stigma. And that was obviously why I was sort of drawn to this topic in the beginning, was because I wanted to see how the stigma would affect or interact with medical researchers carrying out their work. But actually what I ended up finding was that maybe we assume that the stigma is a bigger problem than it actually is. And as I was reading, I found a lot of medical anthropology articles about how once antiretroviral therapy, really quality care, was introduced into a community, there were more people seeking treatment on their own, voluntary treatment, because this therapy had the ability to sort of reduce the visible side effects of their condition. And so then I started reading a lot about stigma and just the idea that like maybe we assume that it's sort of like a static phenomenon, but it's actually a changing process. And you can change the way a community or group of people looks at something without actually changing that group of people. And I think maybe sometimes it is too much. We create the stigma by assuming there is one. Sometimes there is one, but I am starting to realize that I think economic and other barriers might be greater than the barriers attached to the quote-unquote stigma that we always assume is there and might not always be. So it's kind of important, I think, to realize when you're approaching a community of a different culture that although you might have a general idea of particular beliefs and values, and you need to respect those, that the way an individual adheres to beliefs and values is always different. So within a culture, there is also diversity. I don't know if that made any sense, but I hope so. And if it didn't, too bad because I'm not going to make another video today. So that's all I got, and I need to go finish up my paper. So I'll see you guys next week.